And in the second game of the day, the big one, Impis, the home side, taking on Walukuba. Impis clad in their freshly new Giordano Stings jersey against Walukuba all the way from eastern Uganda, clad in their red jersey. And the fans are in, eagerly anticipating what their home side will be able to do. Fresh off their win away from home against the Ginger Hippos, they come here fully energized to see if they can make it 2 out of 2. Ideally their best start to the season in quite a while. And they get the opportunity to start just going through the lineups for the team, starting with the away team, the Walukuba Barbarians. In the front row they will be having Enoch Nawuya, Edward Emiemu and Mohamed Kasalita. The second row will be Dennis Ikendi and Shafiq Massa. The back row will be Dennis Wakate, Ahmad Sechanzi and John Paul Atim. The halfbacks will be Bob Kawanda and Kohath Musana. The centers will be Shakim Sembusi and Ruben Kagwisaje. And the wingers will be Elvis Ntale and Isaiah Lukman. At fullback will be Ivan Bulima. And for Impis, as we're seeing the action starting to go around with Emmanuel Sedabane carrying, but the lineup is for the front row Gabriel Mugabe, Godfrey Ayebare, and the vice captain Amos Asimire at prop. And the locks will be Shafiq Wampande and Daniel Wereba. The back row will be Emmanuel Sedabane, Pius Imposa at 8, and John Mary Tamale at blindside. The halfback combination will be Emmanuel Katunto and Henry Sekuye off a 20-point game in Jinja. And the centers will be Spencer Muhire and captain Kennedy Muhumuza. The wingers will be Roy Chizito and David Dichiri, and at fullback will be Jerome Tasiku, as the Impis get their first penalty of the game. Ball in hand is Henry Sekuye, who makes no mistake with the kick, finding considerable touch inside the Walukuba half. Walukuba off a 76-point loss to the Cobs at Legends. This is their second game, having come back into the top flight, but also this is their second away game. So the away games, they have started the league with a number of away games. The travel could also be a factor in how they perform, and also the adjustment from the league they were playing into the top flight with a lot of youngsters. Impis off a 25-22 win against Hippos in the Hippos' backyard, and a very good line out there. Pius Imposa takes his eyes off the ball, but the ball went backwards. Spencer Muhire is gathered and tackled by Bob Kawanda. Impis is able to offload. They still keep the ball, clad in their fresh jersey for this brand new season. Emmanuel Katutu complaining, but as you see, Amos Asimire there breaking the tackle, and the support plays there with relative ease. And long pass there to Emmanuel Sidabane, playing at open side today, taking the responsibility of open side ever since Captain Kennedy Muhumuza transitioned to the center. He has a lot of responsibility in the back row now, and it's going to be a scrum there to Impis. Game still relatively sketchy from both sides. Impis seeming to ask the more of the questions, and Walukuba having the defense to match it up rather. Yet another scrum. It is interesting to see that Amos Asimire and the prop today, a very versatile player who can play anywhere comfortably from number 1 to number 8, that is from prop up to 8th man. But his services highly required at the prop position today. Emmanuel Katuntu, the seasoned veteran, who also is part of the coaching staff of the Impis, playing at 9 today and eagerly waiting to feed the ball. Walukuba coached by Leonard Lubambula, the coach who also doubles as the women's national team coach, and the Impis coached by Cyrus Sebuliba, a former player of the team as well, who understands the values of the Impis. Henry Sekuye with the back in there, and Kennedy Muhumuza coming for the action, tackled on the second attempt. They're able to set up patient play there by the Impis. Amos Asimire with his third carry of the game, looking to be very active. The Barbarians have refused to be broken thus far. Pius Mpoza wanting to break the line, looking for the offload, but a knock-on. Referee doesn't seem to see it. He gives advantage to Walukuba. However, it could have been a case of a knock-on by a Walukuba player, but sometimes the referees are human and they do not see everything, and they are sole judge of fact on the pitch. So it's going to be a scrum, an opportunity for Walukuba to get out of their half. A lot of pressure, early pressure by Impis, looking to punish the Walukuba team, but Walukuba is still stubborn and in their resolve as the ball is fed. And John Paula team tries to pick the ball, but the ball goes to Bob Kawanda, who goes for a kick, more of getting out of trouble than rather being strategic. But Roy there with ball, great steps, and Jerome Tasiku on the counter-attack. The show and go, the dummy, and the last-ditch tackle there. Last-ditch tackle there by Walukuba to stop Jerome Tasiku from going in for what would have been a beautiful counter-attacking try that would have obviously set the crowd into an eruption. But great stuff to see. Impis asking the questions and Walukuba refusing to break in this particular one. And for this one in particular, I am joined by Ernest Akorebirunji. Ernest, welcome. How are you seeing this game thus far?
First of all, Ivan Otai should have passed that ball. Three-man overlap on the outside. It was an easy try. All the hard work done by his other winger, Roy Kizito. All he needed to do was send that ball out, and Impis were over in the corner. But Barbarians captain Bolima said that this is the game that they will be looking to win, and Impis have shown the intent in ensuring that they do not get that win. So I'd be pleased to see how this cracking game goes for the next 70 or so minutes.
Yeah, definitely. Jerome Tasiku choosing to go for glory over team. But as we're seeing, patiently, Walukuba feeding the ball. John Paula team trying to pick, but the referee says advantage to Impis. We're yet to see what the call is for that particular infringement, but it's...
I think lost the ball on the floor to get that big through, the pick through, but I think it's the pressure from the front run, the tight forwards of Impis exerting that pressure from Walukuba. They held it steady, but then once they knew that the ball was at the back of the scrum, they pulled out a bit and made it a mess of their number 8. Yeah,
John Paula team there with a knock-on and giving Impis a very good attacking platform for what could be their first points of this game. Free kick there, and Henry Sakuya with ball in hand, looking for the back in, and Spencer Mohire there, tackled, but patient play there. Pick and drive by the Impis, who are trying to nudge closer into the 5-meter area. And Pius Mpoza there, big carry. The Walukuba defense still holding strong. The forwards choosing to really do the donkey work at this point, not wanting to give the ball to the backs, but they seem to be taken back by Walukuba, who are also determined to not let them crack, and it's a backs ball now. Spencer Muhire to Kennedy Muhumuza, and he's met by 2 tackles. He's able to hold himself in the tackle.
It was open. Yeah, it was open.
Yeah, but the referee seems to go back for advantage. And it's a penalty. Interesting to see what decision is going to be taken, seeing Pius Mpoza stand ahead next to the referee. It could be a case of a quick start, but ideally the captain makes the call, and it's going to be a pick and play. And there, Emmanuel Sedabane tackled just short of the try line. The Impis now camping inside the 5-meter mark, and it is a try, finally. Try time, yet to see who comes up. And it could be Emmanuel Sedabane.
That looked like Pius Mpoza, is it? Yes, it's Pius Mpoza.
Pius Mpoza, yeah.
The forwards putting in the donkey work, getting the donkey work done, and then of course the back row just upping up that pace a bit. As the Walukuba defense was just recycling, it was just Pius Mpoza just pick and drive, just drive over the breakdown, not to the sides, just over, and the gap was there open. Nobody watching. There's people watching at the fringes, but there was nobody just watching behind that breakdown. And easy try, I could say, for Pius Mpoza to score today.
Yeah, Coach Leonard will not be happy with his team conceding such a try. After all the effort and having to concede a try off not being aware. Henry Nsekui not getting the extra, so the scoring at 5, and Walukuba yet to respond. They wouldn't want to have a recap of what happened in their first game last weekend, so they will want to have an immediate response. Impis, for those that are watching these teams for the first time, Impis is clad in their very, very smart green jersey, and Walukuba in the red with Bob Kawanda having the ball ready to effect the kickoff. One of the more experienced players in the Walukuba side, Kennedy Muhumuza gathers, thinking about the kick but choosing to carry the flanker in him, choosing to keep the ball. Loose ball there, and Walukuba is able to regather. Patient play. They now get an opportunity to attack from inside the Impis half. Scrum half taking his time despite the pressure. Amos Asimire with the tackle there. And Walukuba a bit looking to play structureless and just move the ball from one side to the other. And the counter-attack is immense. The counter-attack is really, really immense, but the referee is not happy with what happened after the counter-attack, not supporting his body weight. And Kennedy Muhumuza trying to ask and contest the call, but referee is having none of it, so it's going to be a penalty there. Do the Walukuba side go for the points? Yes, it seems like Bob Kawanda has called for the kicking tee, and perhaps an opportunity to cut down on the points on the scoreboard.
This is Kawanda's range. Just outside the 10-meter territory. You would think that it's the Walukuba Barbarians have earned it, but it started from that restart. Kennedy Muhumuza not decided in his in whether to kick or to carry the ball. He carries, and just as he's about to go into contact, offloads the ball to Shafiq Wampande, who loses it forward. And from then on, it was pressure on pressure, and Impis were just trying to recover. And unfortunately, Pius Mpoza gives away a penalty, having scored a try. And now Kawanda could get Walukuba Barbarians scoreboard ticking for the first time.
Yeah, as we see, clad in shirt number 12, Bob Kawanda sizing up the ball and the posts. He has the distance. Does he have the direction? Very good kick by Bob Kawanda to make it 3 points for Walukuba.
Easy stuff. These two kickers are good, Shafiq Wampande, Bob Kawanda and Henry Nsekui. Perhaps Henry Nsekui has more experience playing at this level, but it's going to be a good game of ping pong between the two number 10s today.
Yeah, definitely. Coming off a 20-point game, Henry Nsekui from last weekend, it's going to be a competition within this game as well. The two 10s, how they control their teams, how they kick, both for territory and for goal, is going to be very, very important. And the restart soon to be effected by Henry Nsekui, composing himself and choosing to go a bit deep. Didn't really connect with it as he wanted. Walukuba is able to gather, and the long kick. Ivan Otai gathering with relative ease and losing his footing. It could have been
a penalty.
Yeah.
I think Ivan Otai was holding onto that ball on the floor after losing his footing.
Pius Mpoza moving the ball. Kennedy Muhumuza loose ball, but Kennedy Muhumuza trying to release the ball very quickly, and in that phase of play, he makes a forward pass. The pressure by Walukuba really paying off there. It's 5-3. So far the game is, you could say, evenly contested. Many were thinking that this would be a game that Impis would fully control, but Walukuba is intentional about also getting some points off this game, especially after what they experienced last weekend. They wouldn't want to have another unsuccessful trip to Kampala.
They already got the 3 points much better than they did last weekend, so that's a plus from them. But then that pressure, they're forcing people like Kennedy Muhumza into uncharacteristic errors. He has so far given the ball away twice, and possession in very good territory for the Walukuba Barbarians to attack.
Yeah, attacking Walukuba they were, but unfortunately unable to secure their ruck, and it's a turnover. But there's been a lot of contest at the ruck, both teams being suspect of not protecting their ball the right way, as we see a penalty there by Impis, a penalty there for Impis.
Perhaps that's what the coaches have earmarked from the work they did through the week, you know, trying to boss and dominate at that collision zone, at that contact zone. If you can be able to disrupt the team's breakdown, then you stop them from, one, playing a quick ball, but then two, playing an organized ball, because they are thinking. A setup which is supposed to have one player or two ends up having 3 or 4, and you need as many people on their feet as you can, and that's what these two teams are denying the luxury of their opponents. You know, Impis lost the ball at the breakdown. Walukuba have the possession, and then the very next possession, Walukuba lose the ball at the breakdown.
Yeah, and for this particular game, Coach Leonard of Walukuba made 5 changes, 2 in the starting lineup and 3 on the bench. Perhaps some tactical adjustments from last weekend, plus as communicated some cases of availability with some of his players not being available for him this weekend. Remember, this is their 2nd consecutive away game in the top flight ever since their promotion. So it's something that they are still adjusting to as they now try to counter a show and go and try to get some extra meters. Good carry there, patiently waiting, and phase play upon phase play for the Barbarians. Digging deep is Musa Nakohath at number 9, Bob Kawanda feeding the ball, letting his forwards do the work, and it was a case of a high tackle there by Pius Imposa. Pius Imposa is one of those really brilliant players, but he is also one that is very guilty of a high penalty count. He tends to concede a lot of penalties sometimes. Perhaps he gets a little too reckless in him trying to be the team's primary disruptor.
Yeah, and it's hilarious how one of the shortest men on the pitch just gave away a high tackle. Perhaps maybe it's one of the new regulations by England Rugby to lower the tackle height to the waist area. But there was no effort from Mpoza to go low, to make a deliberate effort to make a legal tackle, and he gives away an easy penalty.
Yeah, and Walukuba is able to find some extra meters off that kick for touch, and they now have the line out. Can they be able to get their set piece in order and attack? Very good line out there as they continue to set up. They seem to be matching the Impis in the aggression on the contact, in the contact zones, as they carry in the spaces. As Musa now at 9 passes to Bob Kawanda, and it's a short ball, but a bit of miscommunication there. The runner there thought he was running a decoy, but unfortunately he received the ball, and that is, I guess, some of the textbook 101s that players need to know, that a decoy can receive the ball at any time. As Henry Sekuye makes a very, what could be a costly kick, going straight for touch. Yet he wasn't inside his 22-meter area, which means that territory and possession takes us back inside the Impis half. He will need to work on that, getting his spiral kick wrong, and it's going to be a line out just outside the 22-meter mark of the Impis area. A chance for the Walukuba team to get an opportunity to attack.
It's not every day that you see Impis best players making such errors, you know, from Captain Muhumuza now to Henry Sekuye, who is probably the most experienced on the pitch. I think Walukuba are bringing the pressure. They're bringing the game to Impis at the graveyard, at their own home.
Yeah, it's evident to see in their style of play that their coaches have told them, take the pressure to them, make it uncomfortable for them. They are the home team, but don't let them be comfortable. As we see Walukuba with another really good line out. They have really had good set pieces, and they take the ball straight to the backs. A long pass out wide. It's a case of show and go, beating Roy and Walukuba with some really good phase play. They are known for their really athletic players who are more vast with the 7 side of the game, but now they get to bring that expertise into the 15s court. Patient play with phase after phase by the Barbarians. And they are ducking one tackle, and Pius Mpoza, yet again aspect of a high tackle. Pius Mpoza.
Yeah, Impis are living dangerously here, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that is yet another penalty they have conceded. Impis very indisciplined so far in this game, and it is only a matter of time before the Barbarians can punish them. Bob Kawanda there thinking about it. Will he go for points or will he go for touch? Looks like he has made up his mind, just waiting for his kicking tee to come onto the pitch. Actually, no, they choose to scratch and play, feeling confident enough to match Impis for this one. And Musana there at 9, picking the ball, feeding his forwards who carry, and
that's a big carry.
Big carry. And I think the atmosphere at the graveyard is also telling you the full story. As Bob Kawanda attempts a drop, is blocked. Luckily enough, he regathers, and looking for the offload, he gives it to Spencer Muhire. There's so much action going on in this one. Impis scrapping off a lot of sloppy play, but now they find themselves with a penalty, which finally gives them a chance to breathe after so many mistakes made.
I think Walukuba were too eager for the points. That drop goal was never on. Kawanda was not deep, he was not in the pocket, and he was faced with 3 players in front of him. The attempt luckily does not go his way, but luckily he's able to get that bounce back into his hands, and then he commits another, which I felt should have been a better decision. He should have kept that ball, goes for the offload and loses the ball. And Impis are able to survive this onslaught of attack from the Barbarians. But I think probably if Walukuba have got out of this zone without putting points on the board, probably this is the chance now for Impis with this line out throw by Ayebare Godfrey. It's now the opportunity to at least settle the momentum. It may not be in their favor, but they could just balance the scale a bit to the middle point.
Yeah, you felt like Bob Kawanda should have taken the 3 points. That would have, perhaps if he had converted, put them ahead. And
especially in this heat, you want to save as much energy as you can and leave some in the tank for the remaining bits of the game.
Not straight there by Godfrey Ayebare.
I do not know. I do not know how that wasn't straight yet. Shafiq Wampande had to slap it from his own side. Maybe there was a little bit of a curl.
Not straight on the other side. The referee is particular about looking for a ball that is really straight in the just above the tunnel. But it's going to be a scrum for Walukuba. Bob Kawanda, their talisman, just standing behind the scrum there and communicating with his scrum half, Musana, who's ready to feed. You feel like as every minute passes, Walukuba is growing in their confidence in this game. And uncharacteristically, the Impis crowd has been quiet until now when there is a bit of action. And Emmanuel Sediabane with a high tackle there on John Paula team. John Paula team played for Pirates at a certain point, shot number 8 for Walukuba, but he now brings particular experience to...
that's JP.
Yeah, he brings that experience to the Barbarians, and his impact in this game will be very, very vital.
Yeah, I think he must probably have the best 8th man picks because he has the biggest palm I've ever seen in Ugandan rugby. JP, John Paula team.
Why you were paying attention to his palm is a discussion for another day.
Yes, he was my teammate at Pirates for a number of years. But it's nice to see JP back on pitch,
As we're saying,
and he caught Captain Emmanuel Katuntu and coach of the Impis. He caught him napping, left him on the floor there. What a carry, man!
Yes, we're seeing a medical break there for Emmanuel Sidabane. Like we said, he has a lot of responsibility lying on him with his captain finally moving to the center. So he becomes, you could say, the premier back row for them at wearing shirt number 7. Bob Kawanda there, lining up another opportunity now to get the extras. He has showed us that distance isn't his challenge. Can he have the direction of this slight angle? And this would ideally put Barbarians in the lead. I know we talk so much about the commentators' cast. I will not take credit for this one. I was just inquiring about the chances, as we are seeing a case of uncharacteristic fielding there by the fullback.
JP with ball in hand.
The referee lets it slide, and we are seeing the characteristic palm that Ernest was talking about. Something finally for the fans to celebrate. And panic kicking there by Walukuba, bit of inexperience, you should say, giving Impis the chance to attack inside the Walukuba half. Patient play, Katuntu moving the ball. Loose pass there to Henry Nsekouye, and the ball goes out to Otai.
I felt Impis were committing too many men at that breakdown earlier, and there were few options for the backs to play. You know, there were just 4 men off their feet. Ball comes to them. Henry Nsekouye goes through his legs, but they're all standing flat. And he has to run behind his own teammates, ended up giving away a penalty for obstruction.
As Ahmed Sechanzi for the Barbarians carries, and they are showing that they are ready to match whatever Impis is throwing at them, and they are making it so uncomfortable as the ball moves to Bob Kawanda, trying to duck through a tackle, and they set up patient play. And it's not every day that you see a flanker kicking, Ahmad Sechanzi.
Ivan Otai, the speedster.
And that's Ivan Otai.
There's a man flying off his feet at that breakdown.
Emmanuel Sedabane. The majority of this game is being played in the middle of the pitch as Gabriel Mugabe decides to do what props do best. And ball finally goes to Henry Nsekouye, trying to find
50-22. That's a 50-22.
Beautiful kick there by Henry Nsekouye, making amends for his earlier kick that went straight into touch. This time, finding a very glorious 50-22 kick.
That was a beautiful kick. Henry, he receives the ball, looks up and sees that the entire backfield is not being manned. And all he has to do is find a good kick in good territory and give it a good bounce. The bounce is in his favor. Just goes all the way through into the 22. Impis retain possession, and they gain a free 40 or so meters of territory.
Yes, and also for their efforts, they have a line out inside the Walukuba 22-meter area, and a chance for them to at least put some daylight between themselves and Walukuba. Walukuba has proven to be stubborn, and this is a chance for Impis, the home side, to give their fans something to cheer about. Usually more vocal than this, but today they seem to be in a somber mood as the ball is gathered and the maul is effected. Very, very good, executed to perfection, and the maul seems to be moving a lot. Looks like it was collapsed. Yes, the hand goes out. Advantage for Impis. The maul is still moving regardless, and Impis is being arrogant about wanting the try, and they do get it. And it is
Godfrey Ayebare.
Godfrey Ayebare, and you can see he is very, very happy. And that is a try, and the fans are getting into quite the mood now.
Once they had won that ball at the line out, all they needed to do was keep the ball rolling. The Walukuba Barbarians could not get that spine. where the pressure point was coming from, and the pressure point from the Impis just kept shifting. It goes right, it goes left again, and the gap was left in the middle for Ayebare to just dive over and score the try.
Yeah, and you have to maybe think that for the first part of this game, Impis was really playing into the style that Walukuba really wanted, a bit more unstructured. But when they settle down and they play through the structure and through the set pieces and through the system, they have showed that they're the better side, and you could see that. And the conversion is good by Henry Sekuye.
That's a beautiful kick.
Opening his account off the boot, making that 12 for Impis. And the Barbarians still at 3. They will now rue the opportunity they missed and didn't take the kick.
Right now, Impis needs to remember that even if they're playing at home, they still have a structure that they must stick to. A lot of the times, home teams lose games simply because they're trying to play to the crowd. So as much as there's the full voice of the Impis fans behind them, they need to cool down, because of Walukuba thrives on broken and structured play, and they have nothing to lose. I mean, people expect them to be relegated, so they have nothing to lose in this game. They'll throw everything that they have, and if Impis plays Walukuba's way, they could lose this game.
As we're seeing, greatly gathered there by Emmanuel Chedabane. Ball moved, and Henry Sekuye with the show and go. Does he have the legs? And he finds the pass. Good gather by the winger, Roy. And good meters gained there by Impis. Can they be able to recycle and play the ball? Slow ball this time by Emmanuel Katuntu. Henry Sekuye moves to his forwards. And great offload there. You could say it was a bit fortunate for him. He had thrown it to the
bounce
ground.
pass.
Emmanuel Katuntu trying to look for the ball on the ground. And he's not happy with one of his forwards who lost the ball, saying, keep the ball, I'm coming to pick it and pass it to the next spot. Why are you in a hurry to offload? He was not amused by that. And advantage back to the Barbarians.
That was genius from Henry. I felt like that line break, you have 3 men in front of you, takes a step off the left and then off the right, and he's in that slot, and then long pass out wide to his winger, just cutting the entire Walukuba defense apart.
Yeah, definitely. Henry's no stranger to taking the opportunity whenever he sees the gap. He usually wants to test the defense and see if they can be able to defend. And we see Walukuba with a free kick, and the ball is being moved quickly. Interesting, the fly half, Bob Kawanda, is the one at the rack, securing it. The Barbarians just looking to set players. Musana moves the ball from one side to another, and it's a penalty. A referee is not happy about something that Gabriel Mugabe has done.
Yeah, that's not safe play. There's a player who's diving at the ground for the ball, and then Gabriel Mugabe, if he is the first at that sequence of play, he kicks the ball away, but he is the last one to arrive, and unfortunately he steps on the number 9's hands, giving away an easy penalty. But even more trouble is that he has been sent to the bin for the next 10 minutes.
And Walukuba, noting that a prop has been sent off, have called for a scrum. So Impis can bring on another prop, but I think they've got one of their locks to step up into the front row to cover for the prop who has been sent off.
I think they would need to bring on a prop according to the regulations, unless the lock has signaled to the referee that he's able to scrummage. And I think given the options that are there with Gabriel Mugabe, with Amos Asimire, Impis have enough front row forwards playing in the second row to be able to play in that first row position. And yeah, they earned the free kick at that scrummage. I think
it was a case of early engagement.
Referee says there was a foot up in the scrum. The regulations that you must have a break foot at the front of the scrum for the hooker, but that foot must be on the floor. It's for your stability and for your safety, not to, if I could use the word, cheat or try to get to hook the ball earlier than your opponent.
Yeah, high penalty count in this game. And another one this time goes the way of the home side, Impis. Henry Sekuye looks like he'll want to kick it deep inside the Walukuba half and perhaps go for yet another maul. Just deliberating on what choice to make, and he chooses to go for points. wanting to extend the lead.
Yeah.
When you're coming off the back of 20 points off your boot the previous weekend and you're playing at home, you can be confident that you will slot this one in. So good choice by Nsekuye, because of Walukuba are proving a tough nut to crack. So if he can keep the scoreboard ticking by getting these 3 points, then the gap will be a lot bigger for Walukuba to try and cover.
And in addition, he just slotted a conversion from that place, so he knows that the wind is blowing in his favor. And just as I pick up some grass to prove that my assertion is correct, the grass is blowing in the favor of Henry Nsekuye. But let's see if he has enough power and the accuracy to just send it through the uprights from about 50 or so meters away.
Going through his pre-kick routine. And he has the distance and slightly missing it. Slightly missing it, but there will be a 22-meter dropout. So advantage is still there as they are kicking back to them.
You know, we just saw in the previous game, Ramsey's the number 10, Hosanna Opileni, was kicking from behind the halfway line. We saw just a few moments ago, we saw Bob Kawanda also attempting to kick from the halfway line, and now Henry Nsekuye is picking up his range. I think the kickers are in the zone today. Someone's going to the bin for that.
Of a yellow card. And that is Impis, who are down to 13 men. They're already having Gabriel Mugabe in the sin bin. Now Spencer Muhire also goes to the sin bin. You feel like Walukuba needs to make them pay for this period.
Yeah, for sure, because Spencer Muhire, an experienced player for Impis, he was the captain last season. You feel like he should be making an effort to go low, and as the regulations of the game go, that seatbelt tackle is no longer legal. And knowing a referee like Biaruhanga James, all he could do was just send him to the bin as quickly as he could.
Yeah, emphasis on safety of players as Walukuba trying to find some space behind the Impis defensive line. Very, very harsh pass to give a teammate, I should say. And Walukuba trying a Rams-esque defensive strategy. But this time it goes in favor of Impis.
It's actually their ball, yeah.
Oh, actually it has.
Ball wasn't playable by the time
the referee has changed his hand signal, so it's going to be advantage to the Barbarians.
So initially, the referee's hand is towards the team in possession to indicate that they have the ball in the maul, and then once the ball is unplayable at the end of the maul, the hand shifts to the team that has won the contest at that maul. And I think Walukuba did well. A very bad pass to Roy Kizito. His hands are up in the air. There's no time for him with 2 men at his feet already. There's no time for him to recover, get low, and ensure that at least he can put his knees to the floor. Easy penalty, easy turnover by Walukuba, but they have a 2-man advantage. They need to make it pay. They need to put points on the board.
Yeah, they definitely need to make it count there. Bob Kawanda standing just behind the scrum. And Musana picking the ball. Bob Kawanda going to the blind side. And it's a bit of a square run with a carry inside the 22-meter area. And Dennis Wakate and John Paula team having a bit of a confusion there.
I feel for them, you know, it looked like they were beginning to get into their flow, but the ball carriers are hitting the floor, and the ball is coming out before the next pod of carriers is getting in shape. And we saw that turn of play. Wakaye is in front of his teammate, just turns to pick the ball, which has already been touched by his own teammate, and that's offside, an easy penalty. And Walukuba steal and steal again. There's easy points that could have been scored. There's opportunities to score that could have been taken, but they've just gone begging.
It's a line out to Impis there, just close to the center meter mark, 50-meter mark, the center line. And Godfrey Ayebare having a bit of a banter there with the opposite hooker, perhaps discussing on who's better, a better thrower. And that is Edward Emieu, very, very vocal man. You can see intimidating and just trying to notify his teammates where the ball is going, but Impis is able to secure. Ball goes to Henry Sekuye, showing the back in, and it's a show and go, going through the gap, ducking the tackle, and setting up patient play back on the other side as the Impis are setting up patiently, moving the ball from one side to the other. Pass and Posa breaks a couple of tackles before he's brought down. And loose pass there by Emmanuel Katuntu. Godfrey Ayew, not the biggest of forwards, but yeah, using his wit to be able to evade tackles. Very good movement of the ball, but a bit of over-eagerness by Amos Asimire as he loses the ball in contact, and advantage back to Walukuba.
Too eager, Impis too eager to get the ball going. Henry Sekuye makes that break like we saw earlier, makes that same break again, show and go, breaks the line, but then the entire defense is not on their feet, like the entire attack is not on their feet yet to recognize that an opportunity is there. But then once they get into flow, Walukuba is making a mess of everything. Attempted offload here, lucky to regain it, but then the very last one from Amos Asimire just bounces forward out of his hands, and Walukuba have some smiles on their faces for making a mess of Impis's attack. But they shouldn't be playing in this zone. They shouldn't be smiling off earning a turnover when they have two-man advantage on the pitch at the moment. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, Impis should try and slow down this game as much as possible. Violence with a capital V. Yeah, so Impis should try and slow down this game as much as possible to and avoid conceding any points, to allow the yellow cards to come back on. So basically, anytime they get a penalty, kick for the line out, walk to the line out, just eating up the minutes, while Walukuba should be piling on as many points as possible in this time that they have. I mean, these are 20 minutes gone, and so the teams are going on into the much-needed water break. But Walukuba should be kicking themselves. They've been playing 15 against 13 for a long period of time, and they have not even ventured into the Impis 22. There's something going wrong there, and they need to rectify it.
If I am Leonard Lubambula, what am I telling my players in this short water break?
Basically, I'm going to tell them to be patient, take the ball through the phases, because with two players down, there will always be an overlap. So keep it tight initially and then move the ball out, and definitely the gaps will happen. Stop with the offloads, patient build up, and the points will come.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, you know, Impis coach Emmanuel Katuntu is on the pitch, so today standing in is Cyrus Sebuliba. As you're in the shade, your opponents are in the sun, but there should be there should be enough heat under that shade to make the players want to go back out in the heat, because there are two men down, fine, they're leading, but this discipline will not be satisfactory enough to go all the way to the 80.
Yeah, with the points currently, with Impis with a very narrow lead and with 40 minutes left to play, the game can go either way. And if Impis's indiscipline continues into the second half, they may not be as lucky as they are right now. They've not conceded any points when they're down to 13 players. They have a prop in the bin and they're number 12 in the bin. Those are both very key players for the team to function. So they need to step up on their discipline and take their chances when they come. In Henry and Sekuye, they have somebody with a very, very good boot. And so they're going to maximize that. And last week against Impis, against Ginger Hippos, they scored just one try, but the rest of the points came off Henry's boot. So they'll be looking for the same today.
Is it halftime or is it a water break? I think we lost track of time there. I think it's halftime.
It's halftime.
That went so quickly, didn't it?
Yeah,
that went so quickly.
Yeah, the pace of the game was actually quite frenetic. Both teams enjoying the running rugby, throwing around the ball. And so time went by so fast and we didn't notice it.
Yeah, let's use some time. Let's use some of this short time to take a much-needed breather and I could say a water break.